They said Aduni's face could calm thunder. People in Ife joked that even angry spirits smiled when she walked past. But on that morning when she lifted the mirror of Ife, the mirror that never lied, she screamed so loudly that even the palm trees shook. For what stared back was not her beauty, it was her truth. And my child, that is how the most beautiful woman in Ife learned that not every reflection is for admiration. Some are for revelation. Ife was a lively town. The air always smelled of roasted corn, pepper soup, and fresh rain. Talking drums woke the village every morning. Market women argued like sisters, and children chased chickens through narrow paths. In the middle of all this lived a young woman named Aduni Ola, daughter of Mama Sade the weaver. From childhood, people claimed the gods carved her face on a calm day. Her skin glowed like new palm oil. Her eyes were bright like morning water. Her smile could lift any spirit. If she laughed, even stubborn goats paused to listen. When Aduni walked through Oja, Arisa, the main market, people reacted like she was moonlight in human form. Married men forgot they had wives. Young boys shouted blessings as if she were an angel. Women pressed their lips and hissed in envy. Children abandoned their games to stare. They called her Omorewa Ofe, the beauty of Fe. But beauty is a double-edged charm. It opens doors, but it also invites shadows. And unknown to Aduni, her shadows were already growing. Everything changed the night of the Yasu Supa, the full moon festival. The moon stood round and proud in the sky. Drummers beat talking drums until the air vibrated. Women danced with cowries on their wrappers. Men drank palm wine until their voices sounded like broken talking drums. The goddess of beauty, Osun, was honored that night. People wore yellow. The river shrine glowed with lamps, and the spirit of celebration flowed like sweet palm wine. Aduni arrived wearing a golden gel that shined like a new day. Her wrapper moved with her waist like it had its own heartbeat. When she entered the festival ground, even the dancers missed their steps. And standing with the royal guards was Prince Olalekan, the king's only son. He saw her and forgot his father's warnings, forgot his political obligations, forgot even the festival itself. "Who is she?" he whispered. One guard replied, "Aduni Ola, daughter of Mama Sade, the weaver." The prince smiled. Beauty needs no crown to rule. That night, his heart became a prisoner. He sent gifts to her home. Silks from Kano, beads from Benin, perfumes from Cairo, jewelry from Lagos. Every morning his messengers stood at her door holding something new. But Aduni wanted more. She didn't want only the prince's affection. She wanted admiration. She wanted attention. She wanted worship. She wanted Fe to bow at her feet. That desire became the crack through which magic crept in. One evening, Aduni walked toward the river shrine, hoping to see the prince who often passed there at dusk. As she reached the quiet path, an old woman called out to her. "Fine girl," the woman croaked, her voice carrying the weight of many seasons. "Come, let me bless your beauty." Aduni was used to praise. Her pride made her step forward with a smile. The old woman handed her a small mirror. It was carved from ancient wood. Strange symbols circled the frame. It felt warm in her hands, almost like a heartbeat. "Every dawn," the woman said, "look into this mirror. If your heart is pure, your face will shine brighter. If your heart darkens, your beauty will fade." Aduni laughed proudly. "Mama, do I look like someone with a dark heart?" The old woman didn't answer. She only whispered, "Ase ni gabogbo ewa." All beauty carries its own spell. Then she turned and vanished into the night mist, as if swallowed by the shadows. Aduni blinked. Was she dreaming? Hallucinating? But the mirror in her hand felt real. And that was the beginning of everything. At first, Aduni treasured the mirror. She woke every morning, sat by her window, and stared into it. Every time her face shone brighter than before. Her beauty became a story people told over and over. Her fame grew like dry season fire. Poets wrote songs about her. Painters fought each other for a chance to paint her. Wealthy men offered gifts she couldn't even pronounce. The prince came to her home 3 times a week. Soon the whole kingdom knew her name. But something dangerous began to grow in her heart. Slowly, quietly, like weeds under rich soil. When Mama Sade, her mother, grew sick and weak from long days of weaving, Aduni stopped visiting her. "She smells of poverty," she whispered to herself. When her childhood friend Kemi asked for help starting a pepper-selling business, Aduni laughed. "I was not born to mingle with those who sell pepper." People noticed the change, but they kept silent. Beauty often silences truth. Every morning she looked into the mirror, and it always showed the same thing: perfection. What she didn't know was this: the mirror only reflected her outside, until the day it chose to reveal her inside. The palace began to prepare for Aduni's royal wedding. Women knelt when she walked by. Elders nodded in admiration. Drummers composed new rhythms. The town crier announced the union as if announcing a festival. Everyone celebrated, except one man, Baba Yaom Ro, the oldest storyteller in Ife. He watched her with eyes full of sadness. During the engagement feast, he rose slowly, leaning on his carved staff. "Omorewa," he said. "Beauty fades. But what of the soul beneath it?" Aduni laughed loudly. "Old man, your tales belong to the fireside. I live in the age of cameras, not calabashes." The crowd murmured. The prince frowned, slightly, but he said nothing. The celebration continued. Drums beat, palm wine flowed, dancers spun in circles. But in the middle of the night, thunder cracked over Afe. A wild wind tore through the palace, scattering flowers and breaking lanterns. Servants screamed and ran for cover. In Aduni's room, the mirror began to glow. A soft light at first, then a bright pulse, then a sharp flash. She ran to it, curious, afraid, confused, and lifted it. And what she saw was a nightmare. The face staring back at her was not the face Ife adored. It was scarred, twisted, darkened. Her once bright eyes now looked black, filled with envy, greed, pride. Behind the reflection, she saw the old woman from the shrine. "You have looked into the mirror of Fe," the woman said. "It shows not your face, but your spirit," Aduni screamed. She dropped the mirror, but it did not break. Her servants heard the noise. They ran in, took one look at her reflection, gasped, and fled. By dawn, the news spread through Afe like fire in dry grass. The beauty of Afe has lost her face. And so began her fall. When the news of Aduni's strange transformation reached the palace, whispers filled the corridors like restless spirits. She looked like a shadow. Her eyes were black like coal. Her beauty has been eaten. Even the prince, who once adored every breath she took, felt fear creeping through him like cold water. He visited her chamber to see the truth for himself. Aduni, shaken and desperate, tried to hide the mirror behind her. "Olalekan, my prince. It is not what they say." But he stepped closer, And the mirror, as if it desired to expose her, rolled from under the bed and landed on its face. Light flashed. The reflection appeared. It was worse than before. And the prince staggered backward. This cannot be you," he whispered. Aduni stretched her hands toward him, crying, "It is not my real face. It is only a curse. I promise." He stopped her. "I am sorry," he said in a trembling voice. "I cannot marry what I fear." Those words broke her, not because she loved him deeply, but because rejection was something she had never tasted before. Reputation turned its back on her, first, then friendship, then the palace, then the entire kingdom. The same mouths that once called her goddess now called her the cursed one. Market women whispered, "Ah, pride is an illness. Even mirrors have limits." She thought she was better than us. Aduni could not bear the shame. She wrapped herself in a cloth and ran barefoot through the dusty streets toward the river shrine, the only place left that might offer answers. The river shrine of Osun was quiet that evening. The water moved gently, reflecting the sinking sun. Trees leaned toward the river as if listening for secrets. Aduni collapsed by the riverbank. "Please, old woman, wherever you are, come out." Her voice echoed into the water. For a long moment, nothing happened. Then the river rippled. A soft light rose from the water. The old woman walked out as if the river had carved her from liquid gold. Her eyes were deep and calm, the kind of eyes that saw both the living and the spirits. "You have come," she said. Aduni crawled forward on her knees. "Please, take this curse away. I was foolish." The old woman shook her head slowly. "Child, you asked for admiration, not love. You wanted worship, not connection. You forgot your mother's care. You mocked the poor. You enjoyed the worship of the crowd and forgot humility." Aduni sobbed. I know. Please give me another chance." The old woman studied her carefully. Beauty without humility is a fire that burns the one who carries it. "Please," Aduni whispered through tears, "tell me what to do." The old woman stepped closer and touched Aduni's forehead. "There is a way to restore your face, but the price is heavy. I will pay anything. You must give up your pride," the woman said, "completely." Aduni frowned. "What must I do?" The woman handed her the mirror again. "You will carry this mirror everywhere you go. Now listen carefully. Go to the same people you mocked, wash their feet, clean their stalls, serve water to beggars, sweep the market, help without expecting thanks." "Help? Those people?" Aduni whispered, shocked. "Yes," the woman replied. "The poor, the ignored, the same people you once looked down on." Aduni hesitated. That was the first battle, pride versus redemption. "Your beauty will return," the old woman added, "only when your heart becomes clean again." Aduni bowed her head. "I will do it." The next morning, Aduni walked to the market, the same market where she once walked like a queen. But now she came barefoot, carrying the mirror like a heavy reminder. Market women paused when they saw her. "Hey, is that not Aduni? Ha! See how the mighty have fallen. She used to hiss at us. Now she comes with bare feet." But Aduni kept her head low. She went to Mama Tanran, a pepper seller she once mocked, and knelt. "Mama, let me wash your feet." The market exploded in noise. "Wash, ke? Ah, wonders shall never end." "Is she drunk?" Mama Tanran pulled her feet away at first. "You? Aduni? You want to wash my feet?" "Yes, Mama. Please." The old woman sighed and allowed her. Aduni fetched water from the well, Her once soft hands trembled as she washed dusty, cracked feet. She scrubbed gently, silently, as people watched with wide eyes. Then she swept Mama Fola's stall. She carried bags for customers. She fetched water for beggars. She cleaned the public well. She picked up dirt from the roadside. Days passed, then weeks. Then a full moon cycle. People mocked her. Some pitied her. Some even laughed in her face. But Aduni did not stop. Her pride melted little by little, washed away by sweat, dust, and humility. One morning, while washing Kemi's feet, her childhood friend, a drop of water splashed onto the mirror hanging at Aduni's side. The mirror blinked. A soft glow spread across its surface. Aduni lifted it slowly. Her heart pounded. And for the first time in many months, her real face stared back at her. It was not the same as before. It was softer, empathetic, calm, radiant with something deeper than beauty. Grace. Tears rolled down her cheeks. She whispered, "Thank you." When Aduni returned to Efe with her restored face, people stopped in their tracks. "Ah, she is beautiful again. Is it magic?" "No, she changed her heart." Even the prince ran to her. He knelt. "Forgive me for abandoning you. I did not understand. Your heart, it is more beautiful than any face I have ever seen." Aduni touched his shoulder gently. The prince bowed his head in respect, and Aduni walked away. Not in pride, but in peace. She began a new life. She opened a home for orphaned girls. She taught them weaving, like her mother. She taught them kindness before beauty. She taught them how to walk, with both dignity and humility, and each morning, people heard her laughter by the river. Soft, warm, and healing. They said it sounded like sunlight dancing on water. After Aduni walked away from the palace, she returned to her mother's old weaving hut, the same small, humble place she once despised. The hut smelled of dyed cloth, palm oil, and old memories. She touched the weaving tools. Her mother's hands had once danced on them with unbelievable skill. Aduni felt tears rising. For the first time in her life, she whispered, "I am sorry, Mama. I forgot who raised me." She cleaned the hut. She fixed the broken calabashes. She repaired the old loom. She swept the compound until it shone. Then she made a vow. "I will use this place to raise girls who have no one. Girls who need hope. Girls who need a home. Girls like I once was." And so, her new life began. Within a month, the empty hut became a refuge for abandoned and orphaned girls. Some were brought by neighbors. Some wandered in on their own. Some were rescued from the streets. Aduni welcomed each one with open arms. She taught them to weave. She taught them to be patient. She taught them to speak kindly. She taught them to sit with dignity. The girls adored her. "Auntie Aduni, tell a story. Auntie Aduni, look at my pattern. Auntie Aduni, can we eat pounded yam today?" Her laughter returned, warm, calm, beautiful, in a new way. The villagers noticed. That girl has changed. She now helps everybody. Her beauty has gone deeper. And slowly, love replaced the old whispers of envy and gossip. One evening, as Aduni was teaching the girls a weaving pattern from her mother's time, she heard a soft sound, like wind brushing against a calabash. When she looked up, the old woman from the river shrine stood at the doorway. The girls gasped. Some hid behind Aduni. But Aduni rose slowly and bowed deeply. "Mother, you came." The woman smiled, her eyes glowing with gentle wisdom. "I came because your journey is complete." Aduni stepped forward. "Is the mirror's spell broken forever?" The old woman nodded. "You cleaned your heart. You washed away your pride. You learned that beauty is not for boasting. You now see with your spirit, not your face. She lifted the mirror and held it toward Aduni. Look into it again. Aduni hesitated, but she obeyed. The mirror showed her face exactly as the world now saw it. Calm, soft, gentle, almost glowing with inner peace. But there was more. Her reflection smiled, and for the first time Aduni saw something she had never noticed. Strength. Not the strength of beauty, but the strength of a healed heart. The old woman whispered, "You are no longer Omorewa, beauty of Oafe. You are now Uwalewa. Character is beauty." Aduni lowered her head in gratitude. "Thank you for not giving up on me." The old woman chuckled softly. "No child is beyond correction. Even the river flows back to its path after wandering." Then she placed the mirror into Aduni's hands. "It now belongs to you. But remember, the mirror only tells the truth. Do not let pride return." Before Aduni could speak again, the old woman stepped back into the night and vanished. Weeks passed. The community began to respect Aduni again. Not for her beauty, but for her kindness. One afternoon, while she was teaching the girls how to dye cloth, a royal guard appeared at her doorway. "The prince wishes to see you." Aduni paused, unsure. But she followed the guard. When she reached the palace garden, she saw Prince Olalekan waiting under a large iroko tree, holding a calabash of water. He stood when he saw her. "Aduni," she bowed politely. "Prince," he breathed deeply. "I came not as a prince, but as a man who made a mistake." Aduni said nothing. "I abandoned you when the mirror exposed your spirit. I judged you when I should have stood by you. I feared what I did not understand." He lowered the calabash. "I came to ask for forgiveness." Aduni stepped closer. "I forgave you the day I forgave myself." The prince looked relieved. "You truly have changed." "Yes," she said with a calm smile. "And I am grateful for it." He hesitated, then asked gently, "Will you allow me to walk beside you again? Not as your owner, not as your rescuer, but as your friend." Aduni smiled softly. "Yes, as friends." And that was enough. A year later, the full moon festival returned, the same festival where Aduni's story began. But this time, she did not arrive as a queen-to-be or as a woman chasing attention. She arrived with her girls, more than 20 of them, holding their woven cloths in their hands. The marketplace shook with excitement. "Aduni is here. Ah, see her orphans. They look so healthy." The girls smile like sunshine. Even the king came down from his throne to greet her. "My daughter," he said kindly, "you have turned pain into purpose." The drummers began a new rhythm, a softer one, filled with joy. Children danced, women clapped, old men nodded with pride. For the first time, Aduni felt something stronger than admiration. Belonging. She stood by the riverbank as the moon rose high. The water glowed like liquid silver. And there she lifted the mirror one last time. Her reflection smiled, proud, healed, full of life. Behind her reflection, she saw faintly the old woman from the shrine, watching. Then, like a whisper on the wind, she heard, "Ewa koto iwa. Beauty is nothing without character." Aduni smiled. "I know now. And so, my child, this is the lesson. A mirror shows the face, but life shows the heart. You may hide your flaws from the world, but the truth always waits, sometimes in silence, sometimes in reflection, sometimes in the consequences of pride. Beauty without goodness is noise. Goodness without beauty is music, and a person who carries both. Ah, that one lights up the world. Always remember. Wa le wa, character is beauty. Now tell me, my friend, if your mirror spoke this morning, what truth would it reveal? Would it praise your kindness? Or expose your pride? Would it show gratitude? Or hidden jealousy? Would it show peace? Or secret anger? Every heart has a reflection, and every face carries a story. So when next you look into a mirror, ask yourself, is my beauty only on the surface? Or does it live inside me too? Because sometimes the most beautiful faces carry the most broken souls, and sometimes the humblest souls shine brighter than any face ever could.